Want to learn how to get massive results in 2022? Are you tired of economic depression and the fear of 2020 and 2021? Well, you're in the right place. My name is Justin Hitt with Inside Strategic Relations. The Inside Strategic Relations newsletter teaches you how to have greater autonomy and make better decisions in your day-to-day life. You gain greater influence and power in the marketplace. You don't have to be afraid of yet what is to come, especially when they want you to fear. Now, people usually ask, who's they? Well, a population is easier to manage when the population fears the government. It's all about control at that point. The government can exert control through law enforcement. It can exert control through inspections and mandates. And when you fear that government, or you have fear in general, that government can become more authoritative. Now, our founding fathers taught us that when the government fears the people, the government tends to take better and more inclusive responses to solutions that are available. Now, you might not be worried about the government. You might actually be worried about inflation. You might be worried about how buying power is dramatically reduced in even the last 5 years. How that dollar that you have in your pocket, that hard-earned dollar, doesn't go as far as it has in the past. Yet, there are individuals who have more personal and financial freedom today as you might have in the next 6 months following this unique system. Now, this doesn't necessarily remove all the fears like magically. There are legitimate things in our economy, in our government decisions, in our medical and healthcare system, in the world around you. There are legitimate things for you to be afraid of, but I would like to argue that the fear response is not the appropriate response. Napoleon Hill talked to us about accurate thinking. Will being afraid move you faster towards a solution than many of the other options that are available to you? Now, fear will certainly blind you to the other options, but you can do this and remove all fears about the future. Now, what is this thing that we're talking about? Well, first off, medical systems are very often financially motivated. Government and politicians as individuals are financially motivated. You might be financially motivated. I am not passing judgment on this motivation. But what we teach here with strategic relationships is that you will not advance in society, especially a free market society, without mutually beneficial relationships. Now, in the communist world, mutually beneficial relationships are the backroom dealings between party members. When that opportunity is spread across the entire citizenship, very often you accomplish more. You discover problems that need to be solved. You're able to work together cooperatively to get results. Are you interested in a working plan to gain success for you? Do you even know what success is in your mind? See, fear distracts you from the clarity necessary to take one step in front of another and move towards the life you desire. Now, when enough people fear, we do have economic problems. We have problems in the stock market. We have economic problems day-to-day life. We have frustrations, people getting angry over $6, $5, $4 gas prices. There's political infighting. What if you had a way to step apart from this and live the life that you desire? What if you really understood how history repeats itself so that you can find solutions in past events? What if you understood the concepts of mass delusion and how our media very often programs us to believe things that aren't so? There's a long history of propaganda in all countries worldwide. Now, my audience is global. Many of the subscribers of Inside Strategic Relations are millionaires by U.S. standards. They're high-income professionals on the world standards. They are independent-minded individuals who have families, have homes, have lives in their community. In fact, they're very smart in the fact that they can contribute to their community, understanding the concept of relationship realms. Let's talk about that briefly. A relationship realm is your relationship you have with yourself and how that reflects with your relationships you have with your immediate family. And this kind of works like a bullseye. You're in the middle. And it's okay for you to be the middle. It is okay for you to be thinking about your enlightened self-interest. But in order to stand free in a society, you need to have the support of your family. Now, not all your family is going to support you, but those closest to you need to be good, stable sounding boards. They need to be in a position to give you that social net structure to protect you from challenges. Today is very challenging. In fact, suicides are up 33% since 1999. Okay, so you can't see this as a Biden thing. You can't say this is a Trump thing. You can't say this is an Obama thing. This is something that's been happening. Individuals simply do not know how to cope with these challenges. They're overwhelmed by the media. They're overwhelmed by the fears that are there. And that fear drives us sometimes to what we call shopping therapy, which then gets us into debt and causes other issues. If you're tired of the economic depression, the fear, you're tired of those, you're looking back and you made some dumb mistakes, a well-written plan can move you from where you are to the desires you want in the future. You can live with individual autonomy and do as you please without coercion if you simply just opt out of the system. Now, I know this sounds unusual, but what if you made your family the most important thing? So we talk about these relationship realms. You're in the middle. Okay, you're nothing without your family, without your friends, without the things around you. If, as we're seeing from the social media culture, if nobody knows you exist, and there's a lot of folks in graveyards, a lot of folks in retirement homes, a lot of folks in assisted living that nobody ever visits because they don't exist anymore. They're even disposable, according to some governors and according to some mayors. And you saw that during the COVID crisis. What if you were the very best person you could be, at least for your family? Taking responsibility around the home, being a good mentor to your children. And why don't we go a little further? Relationships Realms tells us that you're in the middle, you're surrounded by your family and friends, and then you have your larger community. What if you had the means, the time, the resources, and the ability to make decisions that allowed you to better serve your community? You're tired of the local government being a pain in the ass? Why not replace them? Have the time, means, and resources to participate or at least stand up a candidate that can do the right things for the community. Now, around that community is your state and your federal government and your nation and your world. And it has different layers depending on whether we're looking at this from a career perspective or we're looking at it from a social perspective. But ultimately, the person you can control, you can have these things. You can transform your business relationships. Now, I talk about business relationships because we do cover topics that include social engineering, manipulation, and persuasion. And some people look at that as like not a good thing to be doing to your family. And it isn't, by the way. It's better to lead by example than to lead by manipulation. But ultimately, you can get more and better sleep knowing that you are on track and you're doing what is right. Now, I'm not here to replace a moral or ethical system that comes with your religion, comes with your culture, but I do want you to think about the concepts that make you who you are so that you can transform yourself into who you want to be. That well-informed, that well-inspected life that takes you to the next level. You'll be able to see in the future and get what you want more easily. Now, I'm not saying with less work. Well, it's still going to be a lot of work, but it will seem like magic when other people look upon you. You'll learn the secrets of clear thinking, even in a clown world. Have you ever noticed some of the dumb stuff people do today? And some of the things that are rewarded, the behaviors that are rewarded, why is that? Well, very often there's behind the scenes benefits of this kind of activity. In fact, as you discover more about history, you'll very often see that the events that happen in the world are opportunities for leverage of certain political positions, certain marketplace positioning, and ultimately changing the society that we live in. Now, sometimes it changes it for the better. It is amazing today that I could be talking into a device that has more computing power than the IBM XT that I had years ago when I first got on the internet in the 1980s. This handheld device can be a television, it can be a radio, it can be entertainment, it can be reflective, it can let me reach out to my friends, but it can also monitor you and oppress you if you don't understand the concepts that we talk about in inside strategic relations. You may have the opportunity to raise money for worthy causes. You may have the opportunity to open doors for other people through mentoring and through connections. Wouldn't it be nice to look back on this time as the catalyst that transformed your direction and got you able to do more of what you desire? Now, of course, there are some people who desire to do things that are harmful. Nothing that I teach here is meant to issue harm, but it can. I do draw from different types of manuals and resources that are about political persuasion, trade craft, and other activities that could seem to be nefarious. There is a clear line that I like to present that we want to have the win-win-win relationship. We want to win. It's okay if you win. But if I win, you've got to win, and so does the customer have to win. So we want to position ourselves to do things that are long-term sustainable. Okay, the current fear of today is just going to wear people out. People are going to check out either mentally or physically, and ultimately they're going to lose that autonomy because they will fall into the trap of expecting someone else to help them. Now, you're a different type of person. You're independently minded. You believe that you can change yourself, but you really might not have any business changing somebody else. You desire the freedoms that allow you to do whatever you want, as long as you're not harming other people. Now, there are political parties, there are belief systems, there are cultural positioning. I'm very neutral to all of that. I don't care what political party you're in. I don't care what religion you're from. I don't care from where you are in the world. But what I've noticed is there are certain types of people who are producers rather than consumers. So if you want freedom in 2022, you have to ask the question, am I consuming more than I'm producing? See, if you're consuming, you're dependent on everybody else. If you're producing, everybody else, not necessarily dependent on you, because there's a lot of competition out there, but you are delivering value that lifts up their life. Do you want more personal and financial freedom in the next 6 months? Well, that means having a plan that might eliminate some of the things you're doing in life, that maybe these distractions, and add to it or replace those bad habits with better, more precise habits. And I do this through the clarity of mind, also through your ability to communicate. And there are many ways to do this. It's unique for every individual. And one of the things that I do with clients is I help them bring to the table the right people to solve big problems. Frankly, I don't want to be solving small problems. There are so many small problems that some of them just go away on their own. I'm worried about the big problems, the pressing concerns, the things that stop you from getting to the next level. I'm concerned about the obstacles that stop you from your success. In fact, I wrote a special report called What You Want and How to Get It. And this unique report actually goes through a very simple exercise. In fact, it's so simple that some people don't do it, but it's a very simple exercise that's been used since Aristotle. It's been used by great leaders over time, Alexander the Great and other people. And it is that well-examined life. And this informs you on how to approach the rest of your life, how to approach the next year, how to approach the next day, and even the next hour. Again, finding the right people. Now, I use business as a structure that contains this relationship building. Now, why is that? Well, it's because inside of a business, it's appropriate in order to market to people, to say, hey, look, I've got some insights and I can help you. If you've got these problems, I have a solution. Let's get together. That's not always appropriate or well taken in the personal world, but it does bleed over to your family relationships, to your community relationships. Is there a challenge in your community today that if they had the right solution would help them solve problems worth far more than they would have to pay you to receive the solution? Every roofing contractor, plumber, electrician, every lawyer, CPA, every tax attorney, they deliver far more value than we pay to get their services. Let's say you're sitting in a $200,000 house and you've got a bad roof. It won't be long before that $200,000 house isn't worth $100,000 because of the bad roof. So you'll simply invest $20,000, $15,000 in a roof and replace the roof. See, you don't have to fight and argue over that. But again, a lot of times media wants you to focus on that consumption. Your roof's bad. It's going to cost $20,000. So now you're all afraid and you're going to go out and buy a new couch because the new couch makes you comfortable now. that $20,000 roof might not be comfortable for 3 to 5 years, depending on what your financial situation is in. Again, we work with mindset. We work with written plans, not this ad hoc crap. How many times have you fallen off the wagon in a sense of you really intended to do something, you know it would benefit you, and you didn't do it? Well, we eliminate that by accountability, and that's part of the newsletter, and the focus, that's part of the written plan, and these audacious goals, which is part of lifting up everyone in your relationship realms. Now, I've heard people say a rising tide lifts all boats. It really does. But from your perspective, from your fears, from your concerns, lifting you up and having the skills to lift yourself up when you're down can make all the difference in your family. Now, I advocate we do this through relationships, that you don't go out there alone and try it. Now, you can, and there's a lot of people that seem like they're lone wolves and they're making things happen. I'm not saying you have to be social, but I am saying that even Elon Musk has a team. All of the famous people, Warren Buffett has Charlie Munger. All the people who have succeeded in life, all the way down to the mentors that you've had over time. Think about this. Your mentor without a mentee is just a regular person with a lot of experience. And I'm starting to realize this as I get older in life, is that there are certain things that are best shared. And you share them because they can change the world. They can transform the world we live in. They can definitely transform your own world. Now, of course, we all have bills and we're in a system based on money. So you can't just give it all away. It doesn't quite work that way. But what we talk about in Inside Strategic Relations is how to position yourself in a marketplace to be more valuable. There are things that you know that companies are willing to pay for. Not, they can pay for you as an employee. They can, the structure is something else. There are certain belief systems that if you were able to practice them freely would reduce a significant amount of stress in your mind and and that impacts your body and health. There's almost this health, wealth, and wisdom triad. If you have the wisdom to have good health, very often wealth will come to you. If you have the wealth, very often the health is much easier. And we can go into that in detail in the programs, but I want to let you know that if you don't know what you want, it's the hardest part of this whole thing. That's why I'm making available for free a special report called What You Want and How to Get It. This report it's not a big, 1,000-page report, but it's my gift to you that helps you understand a unique method to focus in on what you want and how to get it. And when you use this plan, a lot of the fears will simply just shed away. You'll see the world more clearly. You'll spend more time with your family doing things that matter. You'll create emotions and experiences that you didn't think were possible before. You'll be able to remove many of these fears from the future, meaning you won't be afraid today. There's still scary stuff, but you won't be afraid because you'll be taking specific actions towards an outcome that you desire. You'll gain more personal and financial freedom because when one thing doesn't work out, you're not devastated. You've got 2 or 3 other things you can move towards. And ultimately, you'll gain a perspective about how humans work together. Humans are a group creatures. We're so much so that sometimes we desire communism or socialism where everybody is equal. But we don't realize that often makes us all equally poor. And then on the other side, we desire a system where everybody can do whatever the hell they want. But in anarchy, very often people violate each other's natural rights. What I'm talking about here is that healthy balance. That healthy balance where we have the diversity of an individual. We are able to leverage your strengths in a larger community. And we're able to develop a kind of a vigor and a resourcefulness that gets us through these tragedies. It is an important step to take, and it starts by simply visiting the website www.insidestrategicrelations.com. Go to the contact page, contact my offices, and ask for the report, what you want, and how to get it. I will send you a digital copy of this report. This report is available at our shopping, our little shopping cart thing, but I will send you a free copy. All that I ask is that you read it carefully and take action now. Don't wait for things to get better. They will not get better. And the more you feel from fear from a psychological perspective, the more that fear will destroy you. Let's not let them destroy you. Let's focus you on the outcomes you desire. Let's help you get the results that you deserve. Let's move forward collectively into a better nation and a better world. These obstacles are natural occurrences in the timeline of humanity. They've happened before, they have been resolved, and they will continue to happen into the future. Wouldn't it be nice if you had the skills, the forethought, and the accurate thinking necessary to overcome obstacles in the future? That's what I'm going to introduce you to in What You Want and How to Get It. Be sure to visit my website at www.insidestrategicrelations.com to get your free copy. Now, it's not magic. You got to go to the contact page and write me. And while you write me, you might as well ask some questions, and I'd be happy to answer them in future podcasts. I'm Justin Hitt with Inside Strategic Relations, where we help high-income professionals and entrepreneurs transform business relationships into profits guaranteed. Thanks for listening.